Okay, guys, the Biden administration has done it. It has just been approved. A major economic stimulus program which will pump into the economy hundreds of billions, maybe even trillions of dollars. Take a look at this. I had previously reported to you on my channel here the US could give homeowners a $980 billion stimulus at no additional cost, the Oracle of Wall Street says. Now, this is important because this is a way for the Biden administration to pump money into the economy without actually printing money. And they have just approved this. They're saying it's going to start small with only $2.5 billion. And I'm going to let you watch a video here. But I think we all know it is not going to stay that way. It is going to balloon pretty quickly. As it was just approved, mortgage giant gets green light from Biden administration for risky pilot program just approved. Take a listen here and let me know your thoughts on this. This will pump billions of dollars, maybe hundreds of billions of dollars into the U.S. economy. Take a listen here.
Giant Freddie Mac getting the green light from the Biden administration for a pilot program guaranteeing second mortgages up to $2.5 billion worth over the 18-month trial period.
It's a move that essentially puts taxpayers on the hook for risky borrowing practices and potential losses similar to those that led up to the 2008 financial crisis, at a time when many homeowners are still bearing the burden and grappling with second mortgage fallout from the last housing bubble.
Here at the Action Structured Finance Association CEO Michael Bright, also former president of Ginnie Mae, sister of Fannie and Freddie. Michael, good to see you. So let's talk about the consequences of the government stepping in and guaranteeing second mortgages. What do you see happening in the economy?
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, guys. Good to see you. Number one, you said Freddie Mac is doing this, but Fannie Mae is going to have to follow. They always do. So pilot programs start small. They never stay small in Washington. So we're happy that they're starting at $2.5 billion, but I don't really think it's going to stay there. I really think we've jumped the shark on this one. Having the government subsidize and incentivize equity extraction through second mortgages, we're not solving any problems in our economy. Consumer spending is actually too high. The Fed is working on that through inflation. You can get mortgage loans through banks and everything. But if the government comes in and really amps this up, you're talking about additional inflationary pressures. You're talking about additional rate lock effect. People taking equity out of their home means they're not going to sell their home and move. We already have a supply crisis. And the people who should be really mad, I think, are first-time home buyers who are trying to get their foot into the housing market. They can't because housing is unaffordable. This is going to exacerbate that problem. So I don't really see what we're solving.
So it allows somebody with a low rate, more fixed mortgage on their home. Normally, if you can't refi, right, and unlock the equity. And,
you can refi, but you'll have to do it at
a higher rate.
Yeah.
So this is some hoodwink deal, for lack of a better phrase, to let people unlock this equity on the backs of taxpayers. Yeah. Who's behind it? And I mean, which politician is behind this to basically allow this to become a consumer lending business?
Yeah, it is. That's exactly right. It is a consumer loan. These are regulated by bank regulators as consumer loans because that's exactly what they are. And banks do it. And banks do it in an environment right now where the Fed is using interest rates to fight inflation. So while the Fed is fighting inflation and trying to manage consumer spending, in comes Fannie and Freddie, uses the taxpayer balance sheet to try and juice consumer spending for reasons we don't really understand, since this market is actually there. So you're exactly right. Taxpayers are going to bear the risk, more second liens. I just don't think this is the trend we want to be going down.
But I have to imagine that the Joe Biden created problem of inflation. He's now got a government solution to his created problem, which is to say, I'm going to let more Americans tap more equity in their homes and not have to refi the whole thing, and the government's going to step in and help you out. I think this is all about politics. This is about them getting the homeowner to go, oh my God, I love Joe Biden. Isn't he great? We now have access to equity in my casa.
Yeah, that could be. It wasn't your idea when you were a member of Congress.
It was not my idea.
This was not your plan.
We would have fought that.
We would have had a different
I guarantee
opinion.
that.
Yes, again, there's no good reason for them to be doing this. When you're in the middle of an inflation battle, please keep Fannie and Freddie out of that situation. These are politicized entities, the government-sponsored entities. Let the Fed do inflation.
Is this going to remain a pilot program, or is this going to become even bigger?
We're working to keep it a pilot program, Sean, but we're going to need both of you guys' help, making sure we get the message out there. So pilot programs don't typically stay that way, but we'll keep fighting.
If enough first-time home buyers get angry enough, realizing that this locked people into not selling.
That's right.
Right.
So what this newly approved government-backed program is going to do is help homeowners unlock the billions or trillions of dollars of equity that they have in their homes if they've been there for at least a while. We have a lot of homeowners that have seen their homes double in value or more, or maybe 50% more in value. And the government says we have a lot of people that are doing well if they have invested in the stock market over time, or a lot of people that are struggling because of inflation, high costs of food, and 70% of people are living paycheck to paycheck. So it's a tale of two stories right now, okay? So a lot of 70% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, okay? So it's two different stories. And of these 70% of Americans, a lot of them may have been living in a home and may have a home that has gone up in value significantly. They bought a home for $200,000 and now it's worth $400,000, or they bought a home for $250,000 and now it's worth $500,000. Or maybe they got lucky and bought a home a long time ago and it was for $100,000, $150,000, and now it's worth $300,000, $400,000, or $500,000. Okay. And again, it depends on the state you live in. If you live in California, it might be way different than if you live in Texas. Okay. And the government is going to step in now and say, hey, this new economic stimulus, which will pump billions of dollars into the economy, whether you like it or not, they have found a creative way to be able to pump billions of dollars into the economy without them having to print any money. And they said, hey, we're going to be able to back this, government back this. And I'm not saying this is right or wrong, because there's going to be a lot of people with different opinions on this. But those people with equity will be able to tap into that equity because they bought a home for $200,000 and now it's worth $300,000 or $400,000, okay? And the government says, we're going to go ahead and back them, okay, and guarantee that loan. And maybe, because the government steps in and backs them, they might actually be able to get lower than market value, or I'm sorry, lower than market loans on those second loans because the government steps in and guarantees them. Because if the government didn't guarantee them, the loans wouldn't be as low rates if the government wasn't there guaranteeing them. And more people will get approved for this. And with a lot of people struggling because of high inflation and 70% of people living paycheck to paycheck, this is a way for a lot of people to access a lot of money and a lot of equity. And they're already saying this is already going to be approved for several $billion. But we already seen the headline here that they're already predicting that this could go as high as almost $1 trillion, $980 billion. And you can see here, Freddie Mac's entry into the market could result in $980 billion of home equity financing becoming available to Americans, with that number growing to $3 trillion. $3 trillion, according to Whitney, who is I think she's a writer for the Financial Times. So they're already estimating this could be trillions of dollars pumped into the economy, which honestly is the opposite of what the Fed wants. The Fed wants to slow down spending, aka inflation. And the Biden administration says, no, we want to have more money pumped into the economy and see the economy grow. So, I, I know you can't make this stuff up. It's people talking out of two different sides of their mouths. Remember, technically, the Biden administration is separate from the Fed. The Fed does what they want. Biden administration is like, no, we want the economy to grow. We want people, to have access to money. You guys can let me know your thoughts. And the Biden administration is like, hey, this is a way for people to get money without us having to print money and add to the national debt. You guys can let me know your thoughts on this. I will keep you up to date. Make sure to hit the like button for us. It helps out our YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe down below. Click the bell icon so you don't miss out on new videos and future updates. It's free to do. And click here to see about the new military draft bill, which includes women. Or click here to see why your bank account may be hacked. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.